It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, here we are at the mid part of the week. That means it is Wassailing Wednesday for the Remember When with Uncle John show. Lay it on us, Johnny.
Well, you know, we're going to talk about somebody that most folks hadn't heard about. I can remember him. His career was winding down when I first got interested into wrestling. Apache Bull Ramos. He also went by Bull Ramos, but in certain parts of the country, it was Apache Bull Ramos.
I'd heard of Bull Ramos. I had not heard the Apache part.
He debuted in 1956. He was from Houston, born in Houston, and he was trained by Little Rock native Danny McShane.
Hey, look at there.
And he had some monumental battles with Bruno Sammartino.
The legend.
The WWF in the 60s, and I did not know that.
There you go.
Big-time feud with Dutch Savage. Feuded with Terry Funk, Jimmy Snuka, but he really kind of gained a lot of fame with Bruno in the WWF. Invented the Texas bull rope match. I had no idea.
Man, that's pretty cool.
In his heyday, he was 350 pounds, which was big in those days.
Huge.
And
pretty big nowadays.
He was fantastic on the mic.
Okay.
He was just phenomenal on the mic. You can pull him up on YouTube and watch some of it. But he was just a huge guy, but he could move so well for a big guy.
There you go.
But of course, he was a brawler. You know, he was always a heel. You know, he was not by any stretch of the imagination a scientific wrestler at all.
No, okay.
Strictly a brawler, but he had a lot of acrobatic moves to be a big guy. You know, but of course he was just a menacing looking guy, wore the big headband and the traditional Indian garb, you know. Unlike Wahoo McDaniel and Chief Jay Strongbow, though, he was the bad guy.
Okay.
And but was just, you know, he traveled the world, Japan, Korea, Australia. Big draw in Japan in the 60s, on up into the 70s before he started getting past his prime. Of course, when you're that big in those days, and they didn't have the things they've got now, you know, diabetes took its toll on him, and he ended up having, toes amputated.
Oh, mercy.
Things like that. And when he finally retired from wrestling, he had enough, he had saved his money well enough. He started a towing company in Houston and became extremely successul.
Probably made more money than that.
With his towing company, he had a fleet of towing vehicles and several He got a contract with the city, for towing cars that illegally parked, and just got phenomenally wealthy doing that. Had a big estate down in Houston. Had a lake house in Galveston, and all that. But diabetes finally got him at age 68. He passed away in 2006. But during the 60s, he was a force to be reckoned with.
Well,
and like I said, the thing that, of course, Dusty Rhodes, popularized the Texas bull rope match, but Bull Ramos invented it. I thought was pretty phenomenal.
Oh, no, that's outstanding. Can you imagine sitting around and coming up with that concept to incapacitate your opponent enough that you can drag them around
to all four corners?
After being tied to them, your wrist and their wrist with a bull rope with a big bell in the middle of it, so you could beat the hell out of them with the bell.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting concept. And first thing right off the bat, you say he debuted in 56. That's the golden era of wrestling right there.
Right.
I mean, that's when TV wrestling just exploded and everything. So this guy was probably, there's no doubt about it. He was big in his time.
And, the minority issue of it being an Indian, a Native American. You had your cowboys and you had your Indians and your Germans and, all the Russians and all those kind of things. And, that was, along with it, that was the heyday of the TV Western.
Absolutely.
Where you got your Indians and your bad guy.
Right there in the
Cowboys and your Indians.
Right there in the 50s, I guarantee you, Roy Rogers and the Lone Ranger and all those guys, those were the top TV programs of the day.
But I encourage anybody that wants to see what he was like, pull him up on YouTube and see what a massive guy he was, and he was a big deal.
And a talker, one of the first talkers on TV.
Right, a great promo guy.
Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John. But, we want to remind you these shows would not be possible without the great support of people like the Shopper's Guide.
And give them folks a call at 836-3022. Tell JJ we sent you.
Also, Sherwin-Williams House Paint right there at 315 Jefferson Street. Greg Bradshaw and his whole staff, man, can help you out with any interior and exterior paint needs.
And we got the ProMed Ambulance, 1-800-634-0436, serving Randolph, Lawrence, Ashley, Union, Dallas, and Calhoun County. Give them a call.
And, folks, if you go to work and your coworkers say, hey, man, did you hear them talking about Bull Ramos today? And you're like, oh, man, I was running late. I missed the show today. You can always go back and listen to it on JioSaavn, Podchaser, Pod Addict, Deezer, basically anywhere they have podcasts. Just search for Remember When with Uncle John. Be sure to include that second part, and it'll pull it right up. You can listen to it to your heart's content. I guess we will see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.